What is going on, crypto peeps? Happy Monday to you, although that may seem like an oxymoron to most of you. Before I wanted to get into the top 3 coins that I'm going to be monitoring for March as well as for the rest of 2018, let's take a look at the market real quick. Market cap currently sits at 454 billion. We saw Bitcoin rally a bit. This was expected after Sunday. If you saw my last video, I was saying that we had noticed a trend, at least over the last 6 weekends, where Sunday is usually the down day for Bitcoin, and then we see a recovery on Monday. You actually could possibly swing trade just Sunday, Monday on Bitcoin, but that's for another video. So it looks like we're recovering a bit. I mean, this is just a typical Monday. It doesn't seem to be any kind of change in trend. Besides the weekend trend that we just discussed. For Bitcoin, the chart, this is the 1-day chart. We see this inverted head and shoulders that we keep pointing to. And the reason that we keep pointing to it is because this right shoulder has yet to form. And so what we expected was, this kind of shoulder to form, meaning that we'd see a decline and then a push back into the positive direction. That hasn't been confirmed yet. That's just what we're suspecting based on how the market is playing out. Obviously, we would need a few points of confirmation. This blue line right here is the 50-day EMA. This red line is the neckline for the inverted head and shoulders. And then obviously we have this strong resistance that we see here around 11,200. So if we can get sort of a triple confirmation close above those three, then we can say that that Bitcoin is on an uptrend, and the first level of the new resistance level that we would mark is the 12,500, which is the 0.5 Fibonacci level, and then the next one up from there is the 14,100. Now, if we break, if we don't form this inverted head and shoulders and we head downward, it could still be a part of a larger right shoulder, depending on the extent of the decline. We see current recent support at around, what is this right here? So this is around 9,500. So we see current recent support around there. So if we break below there, then I think we can start to target the 0.786 Fibonacci level again, which is where we were at towards the beginning of February. But however, for all intents and purposes, this is starting to look like the right shoulder forming from the inverted head and shoulders, but we just need market confirmation. So that is the brief summary of the state of affairs of the current market in terms of the 3 coins that I wanted to get into. And just to preface this, these are 3 coins that I'm currently bullish on for March 2018 and beyond. I feel like they're great long-term investments. I currently hold all 3 of these coins. By no means is it a comprehensive list. It's just to put these coins on your radar if you currently don't have them, or you're on the fence and wanting to see more, and you want to see more analysis before making a decision. So here's the 1-day chart for Litecoin. Currently, Litecoin's trading around $220. You see this general positive uptrend line since really the beginning of February. RSI is currently in the middle, somewhere around 57. We do see the MACD crossing, and it's currently on its moving towards an upward trajectory. If we do finish out this trend line drawing here, you see that we're forming an ascending triangle, which is a great sign. If we go to the weekly chart, there's an interesting revelation here. We spotted this a couple of weeks ago, and you might remember from a video that we did a couple of weeks ago, but this doji right here is a very bullish reversal signal, especially coming in the midst of a downtrend. We saw a similar thing with Bitcoin, where there was a dragonfly doji that also signified the reversal when, back when Bitcoin crashed all the way down to 5,900. So we see that with Litecoin. And again, I mean, just to show you that this stuff isn't just pie in the sky. Like, there is some real benefit to technical analysis, right? You see this downtrend here. We spotted this bullish doji reversal, and we did see a reversal from there. Now, there's a little bit of indecision forming here right at the top, which you see with the previous week's candle. You have these long wicks, which usually signify an indecisive period if it doesn't come, in the midst of of a trend, or it doesn't signify a trend reversal. It usually indicates some sort of indecision, but we are still on an uptrend nonetheless. And this bullish reversal has identified the reversal for us at that time. So things are looking good on the weekly and daily charts for Litecoin. In terms of fundamentals, LitePay launched today. And LitePay is just like, you can think of it like BitPay, which allows merchants and businesses to accept cryptocurrency for payments of goods and services. This is great news for Litecoin because it does increase the utility and hopefully will facilitate some action in terms of people using Litecoin for real world purchases, which is what its main intention was. And you know, Litecoin was focused on addressing some of the limitations that Bitcoin had early on, which is basically the length of that it takes to confirm a transaction, and then also the how expensive the transactions were. So Litecoin was really created to address those, and hopefully LitePay will be a catalyst for continuing on that path and actually realizing the goal of using Litecoin and bringing it more into the mainstream with regards to payments. And there was an interesting tweet by Charlie Lee talking about the flippening and what he called the flappening. The flippening obviously is the anticipated event when Ethereum will take over Bitcoin as the number one market cap coin. But he coined this, well, I don't know if he coined it, but he referred to Litecoin taking over Bitcoin Cash as the flappening, which is hilarious. But he predicts that it will happen this year. I don't think that's really relevant, but surely it would be a great win for Litecoin if that happens. It's only positive news if that happens. All right, second coin that we'll take a look at is NEO. I'm very bullish on NEO long term for a number of reasons, not only because of the technicals, but also the fundamentals. I'm sure you guys are well aware of NEO by now. If not, I'll leave a link, or you can actually go ahead and Google their white paper and go to their site, neo.org. But basically, it's dubbed the Chinese Ethereum. Couple of things that make it really interesting and compelling is that they have ingratiated themselves with the Chinese government as well as Chinese corporate environment, which are really important in China, especially, you know, with a government that continues to, I guess, address cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency regulation. And a lot of the FUD that we've seen early on this year has come out of China, South Korea, obviously, but China as well. So if you're able to get in good with the Chinese government and get in good with the corporate culture in China, and you actually have a viable product. So the other reason why I think NEO is very compelling is that it's very flexible with regards to the coding languages that you can use to create smart contracts, as opposed to Ethereum, which has its own proprietary code that you have to use in order to utilize their platform. So taking a look at NEO's technicals, we see that there was this nice bull run. This is a long, what looked initially like a possible bull flag turn into a long period of sideways trading and consolidation. This can be brought on by the fact that the entire market itself was either in a downtrend or trading sideways. And this is a great sign because it shows that NEO has remained consistent. There were a few heavy crashes in between this that brought Bitcoin and other coins down significantly, but we don't really see that with NEO. This right here indicates some sort of consistency, right? This sideways trading. If we look down here, and this is the 4-hour chart, just to point that out. It's not the 1-day chart. We can switch to the 1-day chart in a second, but looking at the 4-hour chart, we see that the MACD crossed here. Now we do see that we are currently at an overbought level on the RSI. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we'll just continue to trade in this channel until we see a breakout. Now, this right here that I drew earlier shows the difference between the price that we're at currently and what the all-time highs are. And if you don't know how to use this, this is basically the price tool on the side in TradingView. It's also available in Coinigy, this price range tool right here. And you could basically just click it, pick the current price and draw either up or down, and it quickly calculates the percentage gain or percentage loss. So we see that currently we're at about 15% away from all-time highs. So there is some room to grow to precedented levels, and then obviously it has the potential to grow past that into unprecedented levels and break all-time highs. So I'm very bullish on NEO in the way that it has performed during the crashes and the pullbacks. And this is the one-day chart for NEO. It looks rather similar to the 4-hour chart. The MACD looks even more bullish because we hadn't yet, the golden cross, right, hasn't yet formed between the 12 and the 26 line on the MACD. So we expect the 12 line to cross the 26. And once that happens, we might see, a run up in the MACD as well as the RSI as well as the price. And you could spot that the RSI is not at an overbought level on the daily chart, which is great because this is more of a bird's eye high level view, which we want to look at if we're dealing with long-term investment. So I'm very bullish on NEO. You could certainly make an investment at current levels because we have been trading in this range bound for quite a while in this rectangular pattern. So you could make a play on it anywhere in here, really. Obviously, the lower end of the spectrum, the better, but we don't expect it to break below this. Obviously, it's a market. If we do break below this, set your stop losses accordingly. But NEO is a great long-term hold in my opinion. And the last thing with NEO that we didn't cover in terms of fundamentals is there is an ontology or ONT airdrop that is going to happen March 1st. And that is part of the reason why we probably see this rally in candles right here leading up to the March 1st drop. It's never... You never know in markets whether something is already priced in or if it's going to take effect on the date that the good news happens. So we usually see a little bit of both with crypto and stocks. Things are usually priced into the stock price pretty early on as it's announced or expected to be announced, right? You do see maybe a little increase after the announcement itself, but with crypto, if something happens on a certain date, you see that there's an increase on the run up before and then an increase during and a little bit after the good news or the event that contains the good news is announced. So whether we'll break this resistance line or these previous all-time highs because of the ONT airdrop, who knows? But yeah, just another reason to be bullish on NEO. The next and the last token that we'll take a look at is Binance, the BNB token. Now, the benefits to this, I think, are twofold. There is a short-term and a long-term play to be made on Binance. The reason I say that is because their upcoming burn is scheduled to be happening in March. And if you're not familiar with the burn, you might have heard about it and just, you're not really familiar with what it is. But it's basically in their white paper. And this right here is Binance's BNB white paper. If you look at the repurchasing plan, every quarter we will use 20% of our profits to buy back BNB and destroy them until we buy 50% of all the BNB back. All buyback transactions will be announced on the blockchain. We'll eventually destroy 100 million BNB, leaving 100 million remaining, meaning they have 200 million currently. Or they had 200 million before they started burning them. And now this is, I think, the third burn that that has been scheduled. Now, why are they doing this? The reasons aren't really given, but just like a stock buyback, which, there are a lot of people on Wall Street that are always skeptical about stock buybacks, even though the company might give a certain reason, a different reason for it, saying, oh, yeah, we don't find any better investment than to invest in ourselves. Like, they'll usually say some bullshit cliche like that. But really, what it does is it drives up value for your stock, in this case for your token, at least in the interim or the short term, right? It's just basic supply and demand economics. If something valuable, if the supply of something valuable decreases, it just tends to get more valuable. Now, in all fairness, they did announce this beforehand, back when they released their white paper, and they even had a breakdown of the BNB tokens and its allocation of the BNB token. So they had 50% at the ICO, 40% for the founding team, 10% for the angel investors. And then obviously now it's hit the open market and you and I can buy and sell BNB tokens. So regardless of what the main intention is, that the byproduct or the result is going to be an increase in value. So at least in the short term, and again, this is happening sometime in March. So at least in the short term, we expect to see an increase in BNB's value. And if you're wondering whether we saw that for the previous burns, yes, we did. So there was a burn back in October and a burn in January, and we saw increases in the price because of that. And we expect that to continue with every burn, right? Because the supply is diminishing. So that generally will increase the value of the BNB. And the long-term reason to be bullish on Binance, obviously, is because it's a great exchange that has a good reputation, and people seem to love it and love the UI. And if you take a look at some of the data, this is the source of this data is CoinMarketCap. But according to this, at least, Binance is the #1 exchange in the world with regards to daily trading volume of cryptocurrency. So it currently does 1.93 billion per day, and you could see the other major players on here in comparison to Upbit from South Korea, which does 1.4 billion, Kraken does 484 million, and so on and so forth. That's it for the 3 coins that I'm currently monitoring in March. Again, I hold these 3 coins. This is not a comprehensive list. There are a lot more than 3 coins to look out for, but these are just 3 that should be on your radar, in my opinion, if you don't already have them. In other coin news, Coinbase tells 13,000 users it's sending their data to the IRS. Great. I don't think I got that email. If I did, it went to my junk folder. Goldman Sachs backed Circle buys Poloniex cryptocurrency exchange for 400 million. Initially, when this came out earlier, people thought that Goldman Sachs was buying Poloniex, but no, it's a platform called Circle that Goldman Sachs has backed with investment money. It's actually a startup, and they're buying Poloniex for 400 million. I don't know if this is a good thing. You could see here, this big cryptocurrency acquisition could create a Wall Street style financial giant. I can't say that I'm too excited about this. One revelation that came out of here that I did that was new information to me is that Circle, I don't know if you guys ever use Circle Pay, but it's like Venmo. It's the same company. So I was like, really? They're big enough to buy Poloniex? But one thing that of note is that Circle also has a financial trading platform called Circle Trade, which I didn't know about. And apparently they boast themselves to be one of the largest liquidity providers of digital assets and cryptocurrency in the world. And you're like, man, I've never heard of Circle, right? You've heard of Kraken, you've heard of Bitfinex and Bittrex and Poloniex. What the hell is Circle Trade? Well, if you look down here, the minimum order size is 250,000. And doing some digging, essentially, and you can look into it yourself, there are platforms that are basically that only service sharks and whales, right? So it's not like you or me, but they're basically made for big time traders. So large acquisitions of Bitcoin, for instance, at once, either buys or sells. So for all the talk of those market manipulators or whales that trade Bitcoin in large quantities, if you're wondering where some of them reside, they do use apps or platforms, like Circle Trade, and there are others too if you look them up. And essentially what they're going to be doing is rebranding Poloniex into, most likely the name will be called Circle X, but they're looking to get into the consumer market of crypto trading, right? The individual traders. And, I'm assuming that Circle Trade will remain since it's one of the largest according to them, but they are looking to leverage a platform that will also service individual traders on a smaller level, because currently the minimum order on Circle Trade is $250,000. And lastly, I clicked on this headline because of 2 words that are very dear to my heart: strip clubs. Apparently, the North American Bitcoin Conference was held at a strip club in Miami. You could see here the title: Strip Clubs, Lambos, and Code. Sounds like a perfect combo. A tale of 2 Bitcoins. You can sense my dismay when I found out that the North American Bitcoin Conference happened actually in January 18th to 19th. I don't know if I was hiding under a rock or how I missed this, but sounded like a great time and I wasn't able to partake. So hopefully you guys choose the same venue for 2019 because I really want to be there. So, all right, guys, that's it for the video. Leave a like and a thumbs up. Most of all, subscribe, hit that bell. Leave your crypto addresses in the comments. Join the Discord. It's free. Join the Patreon for the trade alerts. Have a great day. Stay safe trading. Peace.